and it'll be fun. All right, so Baylor-Gonzaga. Scott Drew, we saw what happened against Virginia. They had the lead at halftime and then gave up what was a 20-something to 4 or whatever, give or take a handful of points, run, and just got obliterated. Defensively, he had no answer. And then that could have been a 100 spot or more for Marquette. They shut it down at the end. What about the Baylor defense?
Yeah, right there, defense. So still analytically the second best offense in the country, even after you have 16 turnovers in the first half and you're down 24-0 in points off turnovers. And that was really uncharacteristic of this team. I mean, this analytically has probably been one of the best teams at taking care of the basketball by far and away. So really surprised by the first half. That snowballed on us, but the consistent thing was defensively first and second half, we weren't very good. Even when we weren't turning it over and take those live ball turnovers and easy buckets out, our regular half-court defense wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't. And it just seems like right now, man, they probably need more practices and they need to be playing games. Gonzaga has 2 losses, got, again, beat by Texas by 19 in Austin, and then lost by 18 against Purdue. Purdue's a top 24 team. Jack McKenzie left. He'd like to have heard that. He's a Purdue guy. Now, the scheme. Can they tweak anything between what we saw Tuesday night against Marquette and tonight against Gonzaga?
After this last game, I think scheme-wise, we've tried to tighten up our defense and not get as extended and try to do a better job helping each other. I think we're leaving defenders on an island, and that wasn't working for us. And hopefully that changed. And then I think each and every game you play, hopefully you get better at handling crowds, emotion, adrenaline, because sometimes you have good habits in practice, but it is a different feeling, different level on the court, especially hostile environments. And they use that word, it's uncharacteristic of us, but you just want to have the same habits from practice to last 5 minutes of the game to sell out crowds on the road. I mean, what you do, you got to do all the time.
So that's Scott Drew.
We will change the scheme a little bit, tighten things up, hopefully be more ourselves and have those habits from practice carry over to games.
He sounds exhausted to me. My God, they're 2 or 3 weeks into the season, and it's not going the way they expect. But, again, he's had to turn things around before when they've lost Tristan Clark and all of a sudden went small ball, and look what happened after that. All right, now, one more problem. Is it fixable?
Yeah, that's a great question, too. First thing after Virginia was I thought, we got to call more timeouts and try to let things not spiral as quick. First thing after the game, could we have called another 1 or 2 in that area? And that's one thing. But I think the other thing is when you get better defensively, you get better rebounding the ball. Now you're able to overcome when you're missing shots. You're able to get stops, maybe get transition, get a couple easy ones, get a couple second chance, and those in momentum just as easily. So I'd be surprised if the turnovers continue. I think that was a 1/2 anomaly for us. But the defense has got to get better. The rebounding's got to get better, and that travels.
So there we go. Paul, Craig, is it fixable?
Yeah, it's totally fixable. They've got the athletes to do it. I do think they might have to, again, change up the scheme because they can't do some of the things they've done in the past with some of the guys they've done it with. I also think it bears mentioning that the teams the last couple of years had a long time with each other, right? So who on this team has really played together a long time? Adam Flagler and Flo Thamba. Nobody else really, and even L.J. Cryer's been there, so I'll throw him in a little bit, but he's been injured a lot, especially last year. He was injured most of the year, so he's still adjusting back in. Their other starters are, a transfer in Jalen Bridges, who's new to Baylor, a super stud freshman in Keontae George, but he's also still a freshman. And then you go down the bench, and it's Caleb Lohner. He's a transfer. He's new. Langston Love, injured all last year. Now, he's been in the program and knows some things, but as far as game speed against guys in different shirts, Langston Love has not been there. So when you kind of keep going down the list, this is a team that needs to build some chemistry, and their defense got so good over the years because they played together and had that defensive chemistry, and you could look at a guy and know that. I don't think they have that identity right now. Do I think they'll get it? Yes. I also think, and this has got to be probably a little challenging for the coaching staff as well. There's a pretty darn good coach that's in Manhattan, Kansas right now that they don't have, so they're probably adjusting a little bit to their new reality without Jerome Tang, who was here forever. So, Scott's been great at replacing people, but that's a guy that's probably harder than most to replace, at least in the short term, of, just the attitude and the things that he brought and, who steps up and takes those certain kind of roles.
I did love seeing the guy on Twitter, the random person I came across after the after the Marquette loss. It was a K-State fan talking about how they stole the secret sauce and ha 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 and was really enjoying himself. They turned around and lost the next night. I was just like, yeah, talk now, buddy. But no, I think all those things add up and have had an effect already. Now, can they? What the way you phrase that? Can they bounce back or can they fix it? Fix it to what extent? Fix it to go win a national championship? Probably not, no.
I don't
fix
even
it to
think
go,
that's on the table.
No,
right now,
fix it to go to the Sweet 16 or something, maybe. But yeah, anything barring a tournament appearance is going to be a disappointment. So they got a lot of work to do, and they can't be one of those things where you, like the football team, of every week it's like, well, we just need to this, and then it becomes 5 weeks deep, and you're suddenly having to win 4 out of your last 5 in Big 12 play to even make the it can't turn into that. So they've got time right now. Time's not always going to be on their side though, and so they need to really put out a good showing tonight, even if it's in a losing effort. Just, you can't go out there and get blown out again, or there are going to be sirens going off left and right all around campus because of just the alerts of this might not be what we signed up for. So yeah, tonight will be telling, not the final marker of this team one way or the other, but if it's a blowout loss, that's going to be really concerning. If they bounce back and get a win, I think that would be a nice taste of medicine.
You know that when Mark Few and Scott Drew decided they would play this game, that they surely both didn't expect to have 2 losses.
No.
Not that they don't have a tough schedule. Gonzaga did beat Kentucky. Kentucky's up and down with their youth right now, but they did beat them. They beat them up at Gonzaga. So the game is going to be played at the Sanford Pentagon, 3,200 seats, small little arena. I don't know how many fans will be there. I'm sure they sold it out locally. The game is on Peacock. It is not on Fox or ESPN or anything. It is on Peacock. So that's the only way you can watch it. This game also was set up as the possibility of an NIL type of thing. And teams or players even had a chance if they wanted to opt in or out of it. So they're going to be there. We'll see what happens. Baylor holds the nation's longest active streak of consecutive weeks in the top 10 in the AP 54. That is on the line even if they win because of how they were blown out by Marquette.
By the way, take note, bowl games on NIL stuff. If you want players to opt in and maybe have a better game, there are guys who, normally would be like, well, I got to think about my money. Well, here's money right now. It's not going to be as much as you'd make in the NFL, but if you, got paid for that game.
Hey, you can give them enticements, which in the past you gave them swag bags, right? Or which were pretty nice.
Now you get all that.
Hey,
yeah.
Look, there was one bowl one year I know that they gave everybody Xbox 360s back in the day. So, I think a lot of them would just rather have the cash because they probably have one.
Also tonight at McLean